Okay, time for episode 2 of Blue Submarine number 6. I've got my little seashell prepared for the occasion. Let's see how I like this one.
Allie Finale Studios.
I like that they're playing on that whole thing of animals can sense danger ahead of time. Like, they usually bark when there's about to be an earthquake, blah, 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 that sort of thing.
Hurry. Collect the females back on board and then begin pursuit of Lucy.
Is it like Lions, where the females are the only ones who pilot the ships? Ooh, we got a daddy complex over here. Oh, shoot, wait. Is that a picture of Zorndike? Oh, yeah, there's some worship going on here. So we're kind of seeing loss on both sides. We started with that submarine going down, and then we're seeing Muito, I think that's her name, pulling out one of the corpses of her comrades. Wow, there's a lot to unpack in this scene. Yeesh. It's like she's having a hard time coming to terms with the fact that that was the enemy, and, like, they're killing her comrades, but at the same time, like, feeling strange because he saved her and had this intimate moment with her.
Don't you think we could have saved it?
Don't you think we could have saved it? For dub is rough. Also, something interesting. He was the one being like, it's pointless to fight, blah, blah, blah. And now he's having a very quick turnaround all of a sudden of being like, we should have gone out and saved these people.
Right.
Right. Tools in your face!
For the cost. What?
If it's so important, then you should lock it away in a vault.
Someone got paid to write that line, folks. We always see him in, like, a TV screen or a picture, but never in person. Interesting. He's not telling him to kill people. He's not telling him to fight. Ooh. I need an adult! Need an adult here! Ooh! Ooh, I don't like where this is going.
From your sisters. You were touched by one of the landmen.
So they don't want them touching them or something? Ooh. Yeah, double on that needing an adult. Hello. Ooh, I don't like where this is going. Ooh. The girl playing the fish person is just moaning the entire show. Imagine the ADR on that. I bet that was a crazy day. So they have all the different countries in, like, one place. I'm guessing then that there's, like, not as much land mass anymore. Like, the ocean has risen so much that everybody's forced into, like, smaller spaces. I feel like this is such important information, and yet it's, like, presented as a PowerPoint slideshow, and I'm mentally tuning out. There was probably a better way to do this. This guy looks like he's in a completely different anime. Like, he seems more like Saturday cartoon vibes. He's way more exaggerated than anyone else. And yet we've been given no information as to who he is, or why he's relevant. Is that an animation error? His mouth isn't moving. 10 billion, Jesus, that's a lot.
I am merely advancing the hands of the clock just a bit, before it is all too late.
The camera angle on him. And then the freaky, like, music box music overlaying in the background. It's really disturbing. There's this strange childlike quality to Zorndike and his creatures, and I think that's why they're choosing the music box, and, like, the fact that they all kind of call him Papa and stuff like that. It's, there's, like, a sort of a childish mentality in there.
Yeah, she's with that Hayami guy in the dock area again, isn't she?
I know what they're doing. Getting a little quickie in. Hey, Frida, how about you?
So what's the deal with her? There's always some weird psychic child in a lot of anime. They They have not explained anything about this kid at all yet. She's in like some sound deprivation chamber or something. Oh, that's cool. It's a very nice transition.
Plan? Nuke the psycho? No, that's original.
Hayami is the only option we have left now.
So, in the end, we're no different, are we?
Yes, we are. Zorndike's the enemy, not us.
Does that make it right?
Your problem is that you don't want to get any blood on your own hands.
There's plenty of blood on them already.
I'm gonna pause it real quick because it's interesting that he's choosing suddenly to be like, well, we're no different, and we should do it this way, and yeah, it's kind of funny how he made a quick 360 in this episode, from suddenly just not caring or just being like, yeah, humanity's side to suddenly trying to see it on both ends. Here's the like Pocahontas of it all, you know.
Your problem is that you don't want to get any blood on your own hands.
There's plenty of blood on them already.
You dropped a nugget there, so hopefully they kind of explain a little bit of that later on.
You know that? Thanks. It's not because you always had to show off how goddamn brilliant you were, but because you have no sense of responsibility or concern.
The animation's nice here.
Once can't you think
Also the
about others
dialogue.
or about what we're trying to accomplish like he did? He wasn't selfish.
He? Uh-oh. Oh, I'm so I'm before it even happens. I'm psychic. So one of his friends turned into a fish person?
Going into stream bays, following his lead. Look, Hayami.
Oh,
he's the
did
only
he
man to ever
choose?
make it back from Zorndike's base still alive.
Was he tortured? I'm confused.
The beast mutation process is accelerating. It won't be long now. I read the
That's
report about
interesting.
You. It became that way because of your selfishness, Hayami.
Oh, dropping another nugget there.
Katsuma.
Interesting. I find that fascinating, and also, like, not just making a creature from scratch, but also changing a person who's already, human into something similar, too. So would they all eventually change if, like, the fish people did win? There's a lot of, like, interesting questions right there. Free Willy! The whales are back! Obligatory big titty cat girl. What the? Is there a fish underneath the boat? That's an interesting design I haven't seen before. A fish is piloting a boat. So is that one of their friends? Is he also like a sentient fish person, or is it a regular one that they just glued to this boat? There's so many questions. So now he's suddenly going on a suicide mission when he didn't give a shit about anybody before? Strange character right here.
It's way out. Hayami, listen to me, damn it! Jerk! Idiot! Hayami, come back!
That was actually some good voice acting there. But I feel like that would have had more power if they actually had more genuine scenes together. If they had, like, maybe a moment of levity together, instead of just her yelling at him to do stuff all the time, and him just being a cynical, whatever, edgy boy. Again, it is hard because the series is shorter, so, how do you cram all of that in there? I love me a jazzy number. Need a hand? So, did they know each other? Like,
Cannot be lost now.
or is he just... I'm confused a little bit.
Marinami, you fought well.
Yeah, it seems like he knows him, but we've given no context for their relationship. Or why we should care. I like that bit of animation there where the, like, half lid closed over the fish person's... I don't know his name. I'm gonna call him Shark Man. The Shark Man's eye, because, like, with sharks, sometimes they'll have that film over their eyes to protect them so they can sleep while swimming. So I thought that was kind of a nice little animation detail. Free Willy! He's breached! Shot here because it shows how vulnerable and small Hayami is in comparison to the ghost ship, and how far they have to go in order to stop Zorndike. It's a nice, like, visual moment where there's no words necessary. It's just displayed there. Okay, I like this. So it's kind of like The Little Mermaid, where, Ariel saves Eric, and then Eric saves Ariel from Ursula. It's very similar. So Muitu's coming to save Hayami right now. He's now at his most vulnerable. So it's a nice reverse from the first episode. Okay, so what did I think of episode 2? Well, I definitely feel like the animation, the dialogue, and some of the events kind of ramped up a little bit from episode 1. It was definitely more interesting. However, I feel like there were a lot of elements that weren't properly explained, like who certain people were, or certain development, like that young girl, the guy with the cane, like who are they, what are they about, but we're just kind of dropped into it with like zero context when like a quick throwaway line or something would be easily explain it. I didn't really appreciate Hayami's arc because he goes really quickly, like from being like cynical, I'm not involved, to suddenly going on a suicide mission. So it just kind of felt a little rushed. I wonder if it's just because of the fact that it's only 4 episodes, that they only have so much time, so they're like, cram it all in as fast as possible. He needs to suddenly be the hero, because, you know, they need the hero in this. So I guess we'll see how that plays out later on. It did lead to an interesting scene where Muito comes to save him, and so it's a reverse of like what happened in the first episode, where now he's at his most vulnerable, and she was able to kind of get him out of that situation. So they've traded favor for favor, and maybe now they're going to start to see eye to eye and realize, oh gosh, both sides have their reasons for this war. Mayumi realizes that Hayame is about to go on a suicide mission. I feel like could have hit harder if we had had a moment of levity between them. And I'm not just talking about her throwing a box of tools at him and saying, go work. Every moment that they've had, she's been like, you need to do this or you need to do that, and it's always been very abrasive, and it's never been like, they've never had a genuine moment to just like laugh and relax. And I think overall that's what the show needed, is like at least one moment where we see them as people getting together and like talking. I think maybe the one part that they do that is when they have the guys just talking about both of them together and like dating and stuff, and I was just like, well, that's fine, but those are minor characters, and I would have preferred that development to be reserved for the mains. I feel like that scene with her crying over him to come back would have hit harder if they had had one of those moments. I think it would have meant a lot more. I do think there were some nice animation details, but there's also a lot of stilted animation as well. There's just a lot of stationary people are standing around talking, and I think they were hoping that the that the submarines themselves would do the heavy lifting for the action scenes, which, I mean, not too wrong, but also it was really in that early stage of animation where it's still pretty rough and they're still experimenting, so it hasn't aged very well at all, but it is kind of fun to watch and to be like, yeah, that's how they kind of got started with like computers and everything. There were a lot of interesting lore nuggets dropped, like for example, Hayami, his friend Katsuma, how he was being turned, and they're trying to use him to get to Zorndike while he still has like human sentience, which I think is interesting. They dropped a little nugget there of something had happened between them at training academy, and Hayami let him down. So I do kind of like stuff like that, because then I can tell they're going to detail it out later. So hopefully they kind of do, but we'll see. Stuff like that I find fascinating. It's just it's hard when you're dropped right into the action and not a lot is being detailed. Like it's not very well explained how much of the land is left over, how all the nations have come together. It's like they had that whole slideshow presentation in the middle, and I feel like there's a lot of important information in there that kind of got dropped. The ball got kind of dropped there. But you know, we'll see what happens later. Maybe there'll be more information dropped later, but you know, it is what it is, because it's only 4 episodes long. So overall, yeah, I liked it. I think there's a lot of interesting concepts. I think they can be further fleshed out, like Zorndike, the fish people, detailing what's going on with the world or the nations together. So hopefully they kind of explain a little bit more. If not, maybe it's one of those things where you're just meant to be confused. I'm not sure. But either way, overall, I do appreciate the relationships being developed between the two different sides. It is fascinating. Everyone's got like a different ideology, which I think is kind of cool. So hopefully they do also flesh that out a little bit more in the future. But those are my thoughts. So feel free to watch the next episode, and Allie over and out.